Yesterday, we talked about the 5 Giants that are on Baseball America's newly released Top 100 Prospects list. The Giants are one of just 6 teams to have 5 or more prospects appear on this Top 100 list. So we went through the top 5, but what about 6 through 10 or even 6 and beyond in terms of the rankings for Giants prospects? So we're going to get into those today, and we're also going to give a little bit of an update about what is going on with the lockout. So all of that next on today's Locked On Giants.
You are Locked On Giants, your daily San Francisco Giants podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Giants, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Ben Kaspick, and on this show we provide episodes 3 days a week for now, talking about the San Francisco Giants in a way that's data-driven and rational, but also simple, passionate, and accessible to all. I'm a former contributor for the baseball statistics and analysis websites Beyond the Box Score and Rotographs. I've been podcasting about the Giants since 2015, and I'm a lifelong fan. Thank you for making Locked On Giants your first listen every day. We're free and available on all platforms, including YouTube, where we're so close to our kind of first goal of 1,000 subscribers. So if you aren't subscribed on YouTube, please check out the show Locked On Giants on YouTube and hit that subscribe button for near daily content. And eventually we will be back to 5 days a week. It hopefully won't be too long from now. And just one more note, I know I keep saying this every day, but we're having some technical difficulties on YouTube, which are interfering with the graphics we normally have and all that. So not that anyone's necessarily even noticing that, but we're working on it. Anyway, let's just jump right into today's show. I want to start off with this update about the lockout. We have multiple reporters saying that the Major League Baseball Players Association plans to make a counter proposal to Major League Baseball on Monday during an in-person bargaining session in Manhattan. And so the proposal that the league made to the players initially, I think it was, a week ago yesterday, that took place virtually over Zoom or whatever. And so the fact that they're meeting in person in Manhattan and that we're getting this quick of a counter proposal is a good thing. But what I would expect is more of the same, which is that the league is going to come away saying that these demands by the players are ridiculous and there's no way that it's even possible that they would ever happen. I fully expect that's what we're going to hear. But when all is said and done, it's a good thing that we're getting the back and forth and that we're getting the ball rolling with this. And we're not just in a complete freeze like we were for the first 6 weeks, where we're in a lockout and nothing at all was happening. So that's the news of the hour. I mean, we all want baseball back as soon as possible. We haven't yet missed anything, but we're getting close to when spring training was supposed to start in the middle of February. And so unless they can reach a deal by like February 10th or so, then spring training is going to be delayed. And then it starts to have a ripple effect, of course, to the regular season. So, yeah, we'll talk about the proposal by the players, what's in the proposal, and the league's reaction next week. So please come back for that. But for today, let's talk about the players on none of them are in the top 100 anymore. Yesterday, we talked about the 5 Giants to appear in the top 100, but Baseball America also released its top 10 Giants prospects list. And so we've got 5 more guys to talk about here on the top 10 for the Giants. And coming in at number 6 out of their top 10 is right-handed pitcher Will Bednar, who was the Giants' first-round draft pick in 2021. And the write-up goes as follows. Track record. Bednar, whose brother David is a reliever with the Pirates, got his moment in the sun in June when Mississippi State won the College World Series. Bednar pitched 6 hitless innings in the clincher over Vanderbilt and was named the tournament's most outstanding player. The Giants drafted him with their first-round selection and signed him for $3.6475 million. Although he didn't pitch in the series, Bednar added a second championship ring when his San Jose club won the Low A West title. Scouting report. Bednar makes his bones on an outstanding three-pitch mix fronted by a dynamic fastball-slider combination. His fastball typically sits around 92 to 94, but has touched as high as 97 and plays well when thrown up in the strike zone. Bednar's mid-80s slider shows excellent downer action and his primary weapon to get swings and misses. He rounds out the mix with a changeup that comes in around the mid-80s and shows arm side run at its best. Bednar used the changeup sparingly in college and will have to rely on it more in pro ball in order to establish himself as a potential rotation option. He projects to have average control and issued just one walk in 7 innings as a pro. The future. After getting his feet wet in 2021, Bednar will get his first full test as a pro in 2022, likely at High A Eugene. He has a ceiling of a mid-rotation starter. So coming up next, we're going to talk about Matt Mikholsky. We're going to talk about Jairo Pomares, Aeverson Arteaga, and Ryan Murphy, the guys who round out the top 10 for the Giants. We're going to read those scouting reports. But first, it's the new year, so that means New Year's resolutions, naturally. If yours is about getting fit and whose isn't, or eating healthier, again, whose isn't, make sure you include Built Bar in your plans. Built Bar is a protein bar that tastes like a candy bar, maybe even better than a candy bar, and I can personally attest to that. They make it easy to stick to your resolution because it tastes so good, you'll want to eat it, unlike other protein bars which can be chalky, waxy, or taste like a chemical spill. You want to eat healthy, it just gets so boring. Right about now, you might be thinking, this just isn't worth it. Where is the chocolate? Well, guess what? Built Bars are covered in 100% real chocolate, and most bars contain about 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar to go along with 17 grams of protein. Truly an amazing combination. Go to BuiltBar.com and use promo code LOCKED15 and you'll get 15% off your next order. Use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at BuiltBar.com. All right, as promised, we are going to continue reading through some of these scouting reports of the rest of the top 10 Giants prospects according to Baseball America. That's something I want to continue to stress, is that I think taken individually, these prospect rankings don't have a ton of weight for me because, if one source is saying he has the upside of a mid-rotation starter, I'm not just taking that as gospel. We need to combine all sorts of different things. I think it's best to look at as many publications as possible and, of course, do your own evaluation. Look at the player yourself, look at the numbers, look at the advanced analytics, whatever you can look at, to get the best idea you can about the state of your farm system. Obviously, teams have way more information than we'll ever have, but we're not just saying, okay, Baseball America says this, therefore that's the truth. We're going to look at Fangraphs, MLB, The Athletic, Baseball Prospectus. We're going to look at all of those as the offseason continues to go along here. It is prospect ranking season, so we're going to get these publications are going to release their top 100s and all that frequently over the next couple of weeks. So we will be there to cover it all along the way. Thanks again for making Locked On Giants your first listen every day. We're free and available on all platforms. Anyway, the next player on the list is, let's see as I scroll here, left-handed pitcher Matt Mikholsky. And so the track record here is after going unpicked in the shortened 2020 draft, Mikholsky returned to Fordham and saw his stock rise astronomically thanks to mechanical changes that led his stuff to tick way up. His 1.45 ERA and 124 strikeouts were each the best in the Atlantic 10 Conference, and the Giants were excited enough to make him their second-round choice. Mikholsky signed for $1.2 million and made 4 starts at the rookie-level Arizona Complex League in his pro debut. The scouting report. The mechanical changes Mikholsky made were key to his breakout. The left-hander shortened his arm action, and the new path helped create even more deception. With the changes, the ball now appears to come from behind his ear in his delivery and is extremely hard for batters to pick up. His fastball velocity also ticked up to average 93 miles an hour and touched the upper 90s. Mikholsky showed no clear favorite among his off-speed pitches while in college, throwing his slider, curve, and changeup each between 11 and 14% of the time. His changeup is the most promising of the three because of the deception in his delivery and velocity separation from his fastball. The pitch is thrown in the 83 to 86 mile an hour range and got whiffs 70% of the time hitters swung. 70% of the time? That seems like a typo. I've never heard of something like that. We'll have to evaluate further. Mikholsky's mid-80s slider flashes average, and his curveball is good mostly for an early count strike. Mikholsky's delivery helped him raise his draft stock, but it also doesn't lend itself to precise control and could eventually be the reason he moves to the bullpen. The future. After a few games in the ACL, Mikholsky's first full season as a pro should begin at one of the Class A levels in 2022. He could fit toward the back end of rotation or as a power reliever late in games. So yeah, I mean, to have Bednar and Mikulski kind of just immediately inserted into the top 10 of what was already a strong system is, to me, a good indication of how the Giants did in this draft in 2021. And also, Kyle Harrison is number 5. He was also picked in the 2021 draft. Or am I misremembering that? Was he picked in 2020? Man, the years kind of blended together for me, 2020 and 2021. I can't believe it's 2022. It feels like, how did that even happen? Anyway, number 8 on this top 10 list is Jairo Pomares, an outfielder who is a left-handed hitter, right-handed thrower. Track record, the Giants' 2018 international class looks like it will be incredibly fruitful when it's all said and done. The group includes shortstop Marco Luciano, outfielder Luis Matos, 2 of the team's 3 best offensive prospects. Visa issues kept Pomares from reaching the U.S. for 2020, but he did get some development time at the team's instructional camp in the Dominican Republic. Pomares split his 2021 season between both Class A levels and hit 20 home runs, tied with David Villar for the most in the Giants system. Scouting report. First and foremost, Pomares hits the daylights out of the ball. His average exit velocity of 92.4 miles an hour was the highest in the system among players with more than 150 plate appearances, and he maxed out at 115.5. That's high. His swing is rhythmic, and his mechanics allow him to get into a good hitting position early, which helps him prepare for both righties and lefties. Pomares' approach could stand to be refined. Currently, he swings at as many bad balls as he does meatballs, and when he connects, the contact is usually loud. Pomares has made strides on defense, including with first step reactions and quickness, but he's still a below average defender overall. His average arm is strong and accurate. That's a little weird. His average arm is strong and accurate, and he spent a near equal amount of time at both left and right field. The future. Pomares' power surge was among the biggest surprises in the Giants' system in 2021. He'll likely return to High A Eugene in 2022 to continue working on his defense and honing his approach. He has a ceiling as a powerful corner outfielder. So anyway, coming up next, we're going to talk about Aeverson Arteaga, a shortstop, and Ryan Murphy, a right-handed pitcher. These two rounding out the top 10 according to Baseball America. And again, I can't wait to compare this top 10 versus all the other sources and see, I think that the more information, the better when it comes to evaluating prospects. So that's all coming up next. But first, BetOnline would like to wish you a happy new betting year as we continue our march to the playoffs and beyond. BetOnline remains the #1 spot for all the sports wagering action for 2022. new year, and a new updated desktop and mobile website to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code LOCKEDON to get started. From football, basketball, hockey, boxing, and UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. And hey, don't forget about baseball. A lot of good opportunities for betting on baseball. We brought this up a lot last year to maybe bet on Gabe Kapler winning Manager of the Year because the odds were just so low and you could make a small bet and win a lot of money. And guess what? He went out and did that. So we'll have more of that for you this year when it becomes available. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, as promised, we are going to quickly read through the scouting reports on the last two Giants to round out this top 10 list by Baseball America. If you want to hear me talk about the top 5, you can listen to yesterday's episode when we talk about the top 5 players on this list. Where does Luciano rank? Where does Joey Bart rank? It's all very interesting. Thanks again for making Locked On Giants your first listen every day. So Iverson Arteaga, that is a bit of a hard name for me to say, but he is number 9 on this list. And the track record is that Arteaga's $1 million bonus was the largest the Giants paid to any member of their 2019 international class. Like other players from Venezuela, Arteaga was stuck during the coronavirus pandemic at the team's spring training complex in Arizona, where he stayed until instructional league. Wow, that is a long time to have to stay there. Arteaga spent his first season as a pro in the Arizona Complex League, where he ranked as the circuit's number 7 prospect. His 43 RBIs led the league, and his 9 home runs placed him 3rd. Defensively, Arteaga is one of the surest bets in the Giants' system to stick at shortstop. He has quick hands, smooth actions, excellent range, a strong internal clock, and plus arm strength. Despite not hitting the ball particularly hard, his average exit velocity was around 84. I just have to interject. Average exit velocity is not something I really pay attention to because you can hit the ball like really softly when you mishit it, but then crush it when you connect, and the average might be lower than most. Or it just, I don't really care about average exit velocity. I think it's kind of a overused statistic. I really do care more about maximum exit velocity and also just how about barrel percentage. So anyway, it was only around 84 miles an hour for Arteaga in his pro debut. His initial offensive showing was stronger than expected despite that low number because it doesn't really mean much. He has excellent bat speed and better bat-to-ball skills than his 30% strikeout rate would suggest, but there is plenty of work to be done. He needs to cut down on his swings and misses and has to work hard to improve the way he recognizes breaking balls. The Giants are comforted by Arteaga's makeup and see a player who will identify flaws and work his hardest to fix them. Arteaga should move up to Low A San Jose in 2022, where he will work to increase his offensive abilities in an effort to make himself an impact player on both sides of the ball. Now, lastly, Ryan Murphy, right-handed pitcher. Murphy's emergence was one of the best stories of the Giants' season in the minors. The 5th rounder out of Division II Lemoyne in New York, the same program that produced Nationals right-hander Josiah Gray, rushed his way through both levels of Class A and put himself on the map in a big way. His 164 strikeouts were the 3rd most in the minors, but 2nd in his own system behind Carson Ragsdale, despite the fact he missed time toward the end of the season with a minor injury. None of Murphy's pitches is a knockout by any means, but his ability to command them in and out of the strike zone while relentlessly attacking hitters allows his whole arsenal to play up. Murphy works with a full 4-pitch complement, fronted by a low 90s fastball that peaks at 95. His fastball shows above average spin, above average to plus break in both directions, and is thrown at a deceptive angle. Murphy's primary off-speed is a low 80s slider, which plays well analytically in terms of both horizontal and vertical break. He rounds out the arsenal with a mid-80s changeup and a low 80s curveball with excellent depth. Murphy also gets some deception from an unorthodox delivery. All of his pitches play up because of his plus control and strong command in all quadrants of the strike zone. Despite his success, Murphy still faces skepticism because of a lack of a true standout pitch. He'll be tested in 2022 at Double-A Richmond, which will help make his ceiling clearer. So I actually really like kind of the makeup of Ryan Murphy and command over stuff. It can play. I mean, I think of Kyle Hendricks when I think of a guy who's just got plus command with all 4 pitches that he throws and a big vertical curveball. We'll see. I mean, obviously that would be a great outcome, but I just think those types of pitchers can be underrated. So anyway, that is all the time we have for today. Thanks again for the 4th time for making Locked On Giants your first listen every day. Now make your second listen Locked On Bets, hosted by your boy Q with expert analysis and insight from Lee Sterling. Locked On Bets, your daily one-stop shop for all your gambling needs. It is free and available on all platforms as well. Once again, my name is Ben Kaspick. Check me out on Twitter at Ben Kaspick, Kaspick. If you like this show, please consider rating it or leaving a review. It helps me out so much. So thank you in advance, and thank you to everyone who's done so already. Also, please subscribe on YouTube. Thank you so much. All right, I can't wait to be with you again next week. It'll probably be Tuesday when we talk next, and I'll have all the reaction from the players' proposal to the league, which is going to happen on Monday. So please come back for that. Can't wait to be with you then. Have a great weekend. Stay Locked On Giants.